I have always struggled with depression, but it was more because people were telling me I was depressed when the truth is I was just disappointed, man.
Everyone wants to feel like they matter.
You know, I have never thought something into existence without doing something.
Rise and shine, it's Entspresso time. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I am not a morning person, I'm not. But when you start your day off with a powerful routine that inspires you for success, like watching one of these videos, it will change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of Entspresso from Grant Cardone.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso, keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Just this depression thing. This is a topic that interests me so much.
Have you ever dealt with it at all, Grant?
Totally.
Okay.
Almost my whole life.
Still? A little bit?
No, well, what happens is socially, we say it's depression. But what if it wasn't depression and it was just truth? That I'm having to sleep with my own truth, that I can do more, right? So why wouldn't I be a bit depressed if I have this potential and I'm operating here? Every individual knows what they're capable of, right? So if I know I have this much potential and I'm living here, wouldn't I be like a little bit disappointed with myself? Yes. Now, what happened because back in the 50s, there was no depression. Nobody was talking about depression. People were talking about, how do I get to the next level, right? Today, in our psychiatric community, where the average American has 8 prescriptions sitting in their medicine cabinet. Like, I'm on one drug, I got to take a second drug to handle the third drug because of the blood pressure drug, because of this drug. And dude, I'm stacking out like, why? Because I was depressed? Why am I depressed? Because I don't have his arms. Mm-hmm. I have the potential to have his arms. Maybe not. Okay.
Pretty close.
But it would require me to go to work, right? Or I need to look a different way, or I'm aging, or whatever the deal is, right? Like, so for me, I have always struggled with depression. But it was more because people were telling me I was depressed when the truth is I was just disappointed, man.
Me too.
I was disappointed with me.
Me too.
You know, my mom would always tell me, my mom was always the first person I would call anytime I scored. And she was my best friend. And she passed when about 9 years ago when Sabrina was born. 5 days later, Sabrina was born. And every score I had, I was 51 years old, man. Between 25 and 51, every score I had, my mom was the first person I called. Mom, I did this. Every time, she had the same response. Son, that's great, but I love you just the way you are. Over and over, she told me that. And then one day I'm like, but I don't. Now, I can't really say that. A whole bunch of people are going to say, why don't you love you just the way you are? Something wrong with you, because there's that whole culture out there. This I don't know what the term is, but it's this holistic idea that you should love yourself the way you are. I would tell everybody, dude, if you know that you can do more, do not love who you are. Achieve who you can be, because you can be more. He's done it. I've done it. And I did it by replacing the depression concept, not doing the drugs, by the way. I was put on them like 5 or 6 times. And threw them away and just said, you know what? I'm going to go for my goals. I'm going to go for my potential. If I'm going to screw this up, I'm going to screw it up Grant's way, not their way.
Everyone wants to feel like they matter. You want to wake up every day and feel like the work that you're about to do today will matter, will mean something to somebody else. We're all built to serve. We are hardwired to want to connect to each other. But connection alone isn't enough. You want to feel like you matter. You want to feel like you've made an impact. You've made a difference today, a meaningful difference to somebody. And if you go a couple of days feeling like you don't matter and you haven't made a difference today, that's a bad day or a bad couple of days. But if you're going weeks, months, years feeling like you don't matter, nobody cares if you show up or not, what you're doing every day has no difference, makes no impact, I think that's the path to depression. And the way out, the way to purpose, the way out of depression, the way to happiness, the way to fulfillment is through service. You can at any point in time decide to impact somebody else's life in a positive way. It could be through a random act of kindness. It could be by going to somebody's YouTube videos and leaving a good comment or encouraging somebody else in the comments. It could be by you holding the door for a stranger, or buying the cup of coffee for somebody else in line, or helping somebody cross the street. There are moments every day that you can easily show up and give love and give value. We had a woman last night, a beautiful soul named Olivia, and she was struggling with her job and not liking it, being in the career for too long, and wants to make a move, and has just had a rough series of weeks that have really been a rough series of years that have gotten worse, and it's all coming to a hold right now. And she came in on our live chat, and she was just giving so much love to the people in the chat. Anybody else who showed up, she welcomed, she said hi to. Anybody else who asked a question, she answered in her own way too. She was encouraging people when I couldn't. If I was playing the game and couldn't see all the comments, she was responding to people and giving them love. And I see in the chat, thank you, Olivia. Appreciate you, Olivia. So much love, Olivia. Here was a woman who is struggling herself, is trying to figure out what she should be doing next, has had a rough series of weeks and really years now in the wrong career. And how does she start to feel whole again? By coming and serving strangers that she doesn't know. I've never met her. She hasn't met in person the people who she's helping, but some random person joins, and Olivia is right there giving love, giving value, welcoming them, and helping answer questions. She felt a little bit better. It's not the full answer. Ultimately, she has to switch careers. She's got to find a different job or start her own business that's going to fully alleviate that. But anytime you're in the hole, if you want to prevent that slide, going off and helping somebody is going to be the answer. So how do we start doing it? How do we start building that process up? I'm going to give you 3 steps that I think will help. The first is to figure out your why. What's your purpose? Your purpose comes from your pain, right? I wrote Built to Serve. Where is it? It's back here, Built to Serve. Great book. Go pick it up if you haven't yet. And I dive into how do you find your purpose? It's one of the biggest questions, the most common questions I get asked by people is, how do I find my purpose? Your purpose is easy. Your purpose comes from your pain. Whatever you struggled with the most as a human, whenever you felt the most low, the most depressed, the most worthless as a human, your goal, your purpose for the rest of your life is to help other people who currently are in that situation. The worst days of my life was 19-year-old Evan trying to start his own business. Now at 41, had to check the year. At 41, it's still why I do what I do. I'm still making videos for 19-year-old Evan because there are millions of 19-year-old Evans out there, and they need me. And the people out there, they need you. They need you. The people who currently are who you used to be, they need you. They need you to step up. They need your voice. They need you to share. They need you to have the courage and hope, because every time you step up, you're giving them courage. You're giving them hope. You're showing them a path that it's possible, that where they are right now does not have to be where they end up, that they don't have to stay stuck. And so step 1 is just figuring out, what is your why? What is your purpose? What is the thing that will help make you feel whole every day? And once you figure that out, you have clarity for the rest of your life. I'm going to love helping entrepreneurs forever. I'm going to be, 200 years old in an old age home, still trying to figure out a way to help entrepreneurs. Whether it's YouTube still around then or something totally different, I'm still going to love doing it. That's my purpose for life. And so getting that clarity, I think, will really, really, really help. Great. Step 2, how can you go off and start doing something right now? How can you start building momentum towards it? So it's great that you found your purpose, but without momentum, nothing's going to happen. You know that you're capable of more. You know that you want to share your message and your gifts. You know that your intention is to serve, is to help, is to be the person that has that big impact. But until you do something, that's another path down into negativity, because you're stuck knowing that you're capable of more, but being too afraid to act. So the way to get into action mode is to do something small towards it. When I talked about holding the door for somebody or buying a cup of coffee for somebody, that's just a general act of kindness that will make you feel good. But if you can do something small within your purpose, we figured out our why, we figured out our purpose. For me, it's helping entrepreneurs. Okay, the next step becomes, what can I immediately do right now to help an entrepreneur? So instead of just holding, the door open for somebody, maybe I go to a small business who I know is an entrepreneur, and I buy something from them instead of the Starbucks. Maybe I go and then compliment them on what a great job they're doing and thanking them for being a part of this community. Maybe I'm going then to leave a great review on Yelp or on their Google page. Maybe I'm finding a way to contribute back to their community. Maybe I'm going to a small creator, somebody who I like to follow on YouTube or Instagram, and I'm giving them some encouragement and love. Maybe I'm going to the comments of their posts and giving those people encouragement and love, right? There's always a way to serve. Just find the smallest possible start and do it today, because you start to build momentum. Does that one thing make that big a difference? No, but what's more important is you're more likely to show up tomorrow and do it again. And that's what's going to matter, because if you want to get out of the hole that you're in, starting to build the momentum, taking the first step on the ladder, you don't take a step, going the first rung on the ladder, right? That's the most important thing, because tomorrow you're going to take another step and another step and another step and another step. You're more likely to follow through because you started. So you figured out your why, your purpose, and then you've taken some small step to actually start building momentum. Then step number 3 is you want to be around it more. Whoever is doing that on a bigger scale than you, be around them more. Watch their videos, listen to them on their podcast, follow them on Instagram, wherever you like to live and hang out and consume content, be around those people more. So if you love believing in entrepreneurs, follow my content. That's all I do. That's why I do what I do. If it's something totally different, great, then be around those people, because the more you see people having an impact, the more it starts to seep into you. If you love Grant Cardone and everything he's doing, great, then follow Grant Cardone and watch his videos. And the people that make you feel worse about yourself, or the people who just distract you and you end up in some giant loop of meme videos or cooking videos or silly videos because you're really just procrastinating and avoiding the work that you should be doing. Does that sound familiar? Is that maybe you, right? Just stop following those people and follow the people who make you feel inspired, who make you feel uplifted, who make you feel like going and taking action and doing something in your life. When you follow those 3 steps, it takes you out of the path of not necessarily just feeling sorry for yourself, but from a person who knows that they have potential, but lack the clarity to do it, who know they could be doing more, but lack the momentum to get started, who know that they've got a gift inside them that they want to serve, and then actually giving them the courage to take action. If that sounds like you, follow those 3 steps and you start to achieve the success you're after. Now I've got some special bonus clips that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We need to take some action. But when you watch a video, you get motivated and you create a specific plan of action, that number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of you following through. And when you publicly commit to other people, like leaving a comment down in this video, your number jumps to 95% chance of you actually following through on the plan you set for yourself. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Leave it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
Hey, man.
Evan, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
You got a book coming out, don't you?
You just came out.
Where can people get it?
Get it on Amazon. Easiest spot. Built to serve. Right there.
Let's go, man. If you guys don't know Evan, follow Evan Carmichael. He's got a new book out, Build to Serve. Go grab it today at Amazon. Just a good dude right here.
I understand the affirmations and mental and be positive and meditation. How about some action?
Yeah.
You know, I have never thought something into existence without doing something.
This is why I don't buy houses, okay? This is why Brandon's seen this presentation before, okay? This is my favorite topic in the universe. because this is what allows me to move, okay? So when I take $15 million, okay, I buy $60 million worth of real estate. 15 million buys $60 million worth of real estate, okay?
With such big numbers, by the way, guys, you never write the whole number out. He takes 3 zeros out the end all the time.
Okay. Well, and I'm not buying $60 million deals. So I'll do $1 billion worth of real estate this year. Okay, can y'all look at that number? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do this year. So I'm gonna take $300 million this year, and I'm gonna buy $1.2 billion worth of real estate.
To me, it's a good deal. I can become a billionaire. I can own control $1 billion worth of assets for $300 million. All I got to do is figure out how to get $300 million. God damn, this is like God. This is all the math I needed. I could have learned this in the 5th grade. Don't need any. I don't need any algebra, no trigonometry, calculus. Don't need any of it. This multiplication, leverage, $300 million worth of cash buys $1.2 billion worth of real estate in America. Okay, that $300 million is going to pay me $18 million a year in cash flow. Is that right? I think that's right. I'm going to get paid $1.5 million every month to control $1.2 billion worth of real estate, okay? This is cash flow. Cash flow is what? It's freedom, baby. It's freedom. It's flow. It's current. It's a current. Currency, the word currency comes from current. If you look it up in the dictionary. Current, it has to move. See, this right here, the 1.2 billion is not moving. That's good too, though. That's good because you want something that's illiquid that will grow, right? This is the flow. The flow allows me to keep the asset until it appreciates. We're looking for unusual activity. Okay, there's unusual activity going on right now. You see it every day if you're looking for it. People are moving out of New York. Entire companies are starting to move. New Jersey, they're complaining about it, okay? They're pissed off as hell. The government, they changed the rules on writing your state taxes off against your federal. Now, what's that called? SALT. So, used to be that I paid 13% in California, and then I'm paying 48% in federal. I could take the 13 off the 48. Now it's not like that. Now it's 13 to 48, or 38 or 39, whatever. It's terrible. Okay? So, I take $300 million. It's cash. It's worth the last 10 years from now. How many believe this $300 million is worth less than 10 years? Yeah. You don't need another math class. It's going down in value. I take the cash, the trash, and I buy concrete, steel, and glass. Where people live, okay, we don't buy any retail, nothing. No Macy's, no Bloomingdale's, maybe one day, but not today. These people have to have a place to live. When we buy this asset, it is cash flowing. We know it's going to make us 6% in the first year, 5 to 7%, somewhere in that range. We should be paid on that deal. Okay? So this is really important. This cash flow right here, this cash flow is what will get you through a contraction. You have to have cash flow to assist you through contraction.
Training. If you're not going to train, then put a sign on your desk, I quit learning a long time ago, and see how many people want to buy from you. Tell your family, go home and tell your wife and your kids, I quit learning, I quit reading, I quit studying, I quit training, I can't get any better. Put on there, done, I'm finished, I'm in retirement early, I'm going to purgatory, I'm going to wait it out, cross my fingers, and hope they bring me to sales heaven. Look, you're done if you don't train, okay? Now, I know you know this, you've heard it, I hate to tell you this. My boy McGregor, Conor McGregor. My boy Conor McGregor. Okay, I went and saw him fight in New York. I went and saw him fight for one reason, because I saw him say, I'm not the best. This isn't about talent. It's because I'm obsessed. I out-train everyone else. I have to win so bad I train. Look, if you're not training, that says something about your obsession or lack of obsession with winning. I want you to win. I know your wife or your husband, your spouse, your family members, your kids, your mom and dad want you to win at the next level, no matter what they tell you. Even if they tell you you're doing great, pat you on the back, you know the truth. You know the truth. The only way to win is to train. The only way to win is to read. The only way to win is to learn more, listen more, learn something new. Look, we're in a time like we've never been before. Technologies come and go faster than people do. Things are changing like this, whether it's video you're using or social media or Snap or short videos or videos that disappear or videos that stay or text messaging that you can create to push and market and brand yourself, called text messaging, which I've been using a lot. Look, the world's changing. And if you're saying to yourself, I'm too old to learn that, well, then guess what? You're too old to learn that. If you can't learn anything new, just put, I'm ripe and I'm about to fall off the tree and nobody's going to want me. Look, man, you got to train every single day like your life depends on it. Train every single day. I am here today. I own these 4 companies that I own, the studio, my reputation, everything is because when I was 25 years old to when I was 30 years old, every single day, I trained watching video every day. I'd watch the video, I'd walk in, and then I would role play, and then we would do a sales meeting every single day.
When I was a kid, Glenn, I was like, I knew I was going to do something great and had zero reason to believe that.
Right.
Like it was a total fantasy. Or maybe not. I think everybody has that. I would imagine that every kid has this idea that they're meant for greatness. I know I did. I always thought I was going to be something great. I remember my twin brother. He'd be in the mirror, man. He's like 8 years old. We're 8 years old. He's singing in the mirror like he's a rock star.
Right.
I had to listen to that all the time. and then I start thinking, man, if he's going to be a rock star, he's going to go on and be a big rock star. And I can't, because that wasn't my deal.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what am I going to be? And then I thought, I'm going to be a baseball player. I actually believed I was going to be a baseball player.
Right.
Dude, I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have the arm. I mean, I had no talent. I didn't have the work ethic. I didn't have somebody pushing me. So I've just always underestimated what I could do. I think everybody does. That's why this 10X thing, that's why I keep telling people, man, you're thinking too small. When I talk to people about real estate, don't do 2 units. Got to start somewhere. No, you don't have to start with 2 units. You could actually start with 32.
Right.
And by the way, it's going to be a lot easier to make money on 32 than it is 2.
Sure.
If you can just believe that you can. And right now is a time where people are going to have to start believing they can do something else, because we're going to move into a period of time now where there's going to be massive transition, enforced transition on everyone.
I don't think that people burn out. I think it's impossible. I'm not a piece of wax. I'm not a candle. So the burnout thing was put on us by people that quit already.
Yeah.
You're going to burn out, dude. You're going to burn out. Burnout is never about work. Nobody burns out because they work too hard. Oh, you're burning the candle at both ends. I'm a spiritual being. I can create energy. This is an irresponsibility. Like, I've never met a human being that was made of wax. Oh yeah, but I'm burning at both ends. You're a being. You're a being. Okay, like quit saying something's happening to you. This goes back to cause and effect. I create energy, and I love your example of the kids. Okay, that kid can play that game. It's always a game though.
Yeah, all day, all night.
It's always a game. There's nothing that entertains people more than a game. And so when I was 18 years old, man, I was playing a game called Asteroids. I would play $80 of it a day because it cost a quarter every game, right? And I'm just throwing them in, doing anything I can to get quarters so I can dump them into this game. And I was trying to get to the next level. Look at how people play Candy Crush, 700 levels, and they're still looking for the next level over and over again. It's games, man. And that energy doesn't run out until you hit boredom, because you can see a kid play a game too long, and then they start getting like kind of smashed in, and their attitude gets bad because they've been playing that same game too long.
Yeah.
So I know that as long as I'm interested, not passionate.
What's the difference for you?
Well, for me, I need to be able to win at a game. If there's a chance I can win, I'll be excited about the game. If there's no chance to win, I have no interest. So for me, the idea that I'm going to follow my passions is a little bit diluted for me. I think people are looking for their passion. I would not follow my passion. I would follow the wins.
Right. So are you saying there's things that you could really enjoy, but you don't think you could win? Is that what you mean?
I think I think that if there's no victory, the passion is a little bit narcissistic. Like, oh, I'm meant to be an artist. Maybe ain't nobody buying your art. Nobody's buying it. All you do is stacking art. Okay, it's so selfish. I do this for me. Makes me feel good.
7 billion people on this planet, man. Like if you keep all this to yourself, sooner or later, you're just going to look like a junkyard around you. And at some point, you're going to see this person cave in depression. And it's like where do you get the art out? Like, you know, like I love watches, right?
So do I.
Yeah. Most of my watches end up on somebody else's arm.
Yeah.
Like I have it for a while, I love it for a while, and then I'm like, here, you have it.
Yeah.
And so for me, like it needs to get out, and I have a victory in that.
Yeah.
I see it on somebody else's arm, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
And so if I write a book and the book doesn't get sold, I'm not going to be excited about that book. I need the book in hands of other people. I've created a fund called Cardone Capital, and it's changing the way people can invest in real estate. So when I was growing up, and even in my early real estate career, I could not buy the best assets. The best properties are left for institutions and banks, and it's super, super wealthy. I'm talking about the kind of wealth you're familiar with and read about here. And I'm not talking about people that have hundreds of millions, but billions and hundreds of billions and even trillions of dollars of available money to them. And so most even real estate professionals get the leftovers, everything after that. And so I've been playing the real estate game for 30 years, and in the last 7 years figured out, okay, I'm gonna start buying what JP Morgan buys and Blackstone. And I'm going to use my audience on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm not going to go get my money from the institutions. I'm going to get the deal from the institution. And the money is going to come from my friends. And we're going to crowdsource this money without paying brokers. The brokers never like to hear me say this. But we've raised $300 million, bought $1 billion worth of real estate in the last 30 months. I paid not one penny to a broker.
Wow.
So that means all that investor dollars ends up in the investment, saving the investor money. And then we distribute cash distributions every single month, not every quarter. Like the banks distribute every quarter, or a REIT will distribute every quarter.
It's funny, you know, people talk about the power of social media and they diss it a lot. But then last week, Kylie Jenner, $600 million, 51% stake in her business. You have raised $300 million through crowdfunding. Because a lot of people are wasting time on social media. They're getting likes and comments. I know there's a guy flying into town tomorrow, and he's big on free and don't monetize, and he's looking at his likes and comments, and I don't look at likes and comments. I look at, hey, I have an offer. This is what you could do. It's a great deal for you. It's a great deal for me. It's a great deal for everybody that plays. And we want to monetize. So I think I'm going to raise $3 billion. I'm going to create a $10 billion fund, crowdfunding. And then the banks are going to come to me and say, we want to buy that thing. I was making some money, like in my 30s and 40s. I made a lot of money. What other people would call a lot of money. Yeah. But I was not a business. You know what I mean? I was just.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I was just hustling. Just because you're hustling. Everything was a transaction. Yeah. Everything was a transaction to get money, pay the taxes, have a little bit of money left over. Everything was a transaction. Yeah. And this guy's like, well, you're not a business. And I was like, I know, man, I know. Don't tell anybody. I know that, okay? Like, I knew it. And because to me, a business is I can walk away from it, it'll still operate. I was a guy. I was no different than when I was 30, just pounding doors. And which was good. And I think a lot of people you don't need to skip that spot either. Because once I put the two together, okay, I can pound the door. I can learn e-commerce. I can be a one product sale. I can sell to companies. Like today, we'll sell a product to a company for $80,000 on a 3 to 5 year contract, $80,000 a year. Yeah, wow. And I'll switch immediately and sell an $8 product online, or I'll give something away for free, to speaking to 4,000 people today in hopes that I can meet, maybe 40 of them that I can have a partnership and a collaboration with in the future.
So, like you said 10 years ago, someone said to you, you don't have a business. What changed? Like how have you built what you've built now? Is that when the whole 10X philosophy started? Yeah, exactly. 10X woke me up. 10X was not for the public. 10X was for me. I was trying to figure out, why am I work hard, I got great products, got a great reputation, great reviews, people like me, they like my content. They like my content actually better than they like me. That might have been an exaggeration, you know what I mean?
But even if they didn't like me, they're like, dude, your content's so ridiculous. It's so good. Like whether it's sales, closing, marketing, promotion. And a lot of it, I wasn't even taking my own advice. Like I was giving advice and not taking it. So when the economy crashed, which was, I guess, almost 10 years ago, in America particularly, it was so devastating that if you had any weakness in a business, like every weakness was showed. You know, Warren Buffett talks about, hey, what are you wearing when the tide goes out? Well, dude, in 2008, 9, and 10, when the tide went out, every weakness that I had exhibited, hard work did not leave you less vulnerable in 2010. You could have worked hard and still, you'd be upside down in your house, you could lose everything, your cash accounts are garbage, stock got wrecked, everything, right? So 2010 was really the whisper, you're not a business, son. That was the big, hey, you're not a business. And that's when I made a decision, okay, I'm gonna build a business. So between 6 and 9, I'm gonna set up my first 3 things to do that morning. I'm probably gonna work out. In my case, because I'm a father, I'm gonna spend time with my kids. Then I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna take a shower, I'm gonna get ready, have some breakfast, and be ready for a 9 a.m. meeting. 9 to noon, between 9 and noon, maybe I have phone calls, maybe I'm working on a project, maybe I'm shooting a video. I'll basically have those notes. Again, every line on this page should be filled up. Noon, I'm gonna take a quick lunch, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, have a bite to eat, or I'm gonna spend a longer lunch, but it'll always be with a client. 3 to 6, 6 to 9, I'm cranking down, I'm turning it off, I'm going to sleep. If you overcommit and underdeliver, if you can't get to everything, that's better than having blank space on this calendar. Now, the right side is why I built the 10X Planner as a journal, schedule, planner, day timer, day runner, call it what you want. Your goals, these 4 or 5 lines right here are gonna be the most important way to start your day because this is your purpose. This is why you're living your life. This is the reason you're getting up and going into work each day. Underneath this, you're gonna see quote of the day. What is your quote today? This is a very creative 2 lines that's gonna cause you to think about what you stand for that day. These are your targets, things you want to accomplish this day, calls you want to make, appointments you want to have, deals you want to close, people you need to see, somebody you got to get in front of. This is your exact target, something measurable. Then what do we have? Successes, so important. Don't wait till the end of the week or the end of the month to write down your successes. What'd you do today? You went to the dentist and had your teeth cleaned. Boom, that's a success. For me, that's a major success because I hate dentists. And by the way, make sure when you put your successes down here, tweet me every once in a while, and I'll make sure I either retweet you or I'll follow you or I'll get you more followers. Last thing, write your goals down again. You wrote them down this morning, you wrote them down at night. I can't tell you how valuable this is, okay? You write your goals down once a year, I'm gonna write mine down 700 times a year. Who wins this game? A guy smarter than me, taller than me, better looking than me, better connected than me, writes his goals down once or twice a year, and I write mine down 700 times a year. Who wins? It won't be taller, it won't be richer, it won't be better looking. It'll be the guy that writes his goals down twice a day, every day. The idea here is, look, commit. Okay, and this is the problem with the schooling system. Everything's got to be figured out first. I got to read the instructions first. Like, nobody really does read the instructions.
I never read the instructions. I wrote an article about it. I don't read any instructions.
You know, and so, I mean, I can't read them because they're so small. Yeah. so, and even when I could read them, I'm like, I don't want to read the instructions. Can't they make this simpler?
Yeah.
So, and that is the premise there.
Yeah.
Can't it just be simpler?
Yeah.
And the way to make it simple is, and we see this happening today. I mean, this is happening on a global scale where picking a car up now is simple. Pick me up.
It's crazy.
I don't have to put the address in. It should locate where I am. Car picks me up. I put in the destination, tells the guy where to go.
You don't even need to pay for it either. It's already set up.
Like simple. You guys got, everything should be simplified. Yeah. And the way to simplify things, I remember Mercedes-Benz years ago, I heard about this when they had first figured out how to put a drop back, a hard top convertible into the trunk. They couldn't figure it out. It used to be these old, you know, they'd hang them up in the garage and take them off, and it was like very laborious. And somebody at Mercedes-Benz said, don't tell me what it's going to cost. Tell me when it's done. Just get it done, no matter what. This is how the Elon Musk are thinking today. You know, this is why Apple keeps creating a crazy product. Why this will go away. Somebody's going to come along one day and say, get rid of the phone. and I still want to communicate.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be on a headset, more like this. We're probably going here, right, where I pop.
Well, I mean, the watches.
Yeah, they're moving there, right?
It's crazy.
So to where I don't even need a watch. I won't need anything. It's like, okay, I want to call blah, blah, blah. We're moving in that direction of less and faster and simpler. So the way the human being does that, he's in Brisbane this morning, the Gold Coast. I got to get down there. He's committed. He doesn't figure, he just gets a flight. No research.
No, not
You weren't
at all.
researching it last night?
No, not at all.
If you'd
Couldn't care less.
known about this last night, you'd have been doing work about it last night, planning, negotiating with the airlines.
Yeah.
When you get compressed on time and you got a commitment, you're like, I got to be there at 2:30. Everything works out.
Yeah, as I was walking out, my assistant, she goes, "Oh, where are you going to stay?" And I was like, "Book me a place. We're close to to the park. Or where you're staying." Won't put that out. But
we're on this trip. We went to Tokyo. Because things don't work out as planned anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying go through life unplanned. I have 500 employees. So there's got to be some planning. There's got to be.
Is that stretched over your?
It doesn't need to
companies?
be me doing the planning though.
Yeah.
Like maybe I need somebody else to do that. I don't have to do that.
No.
I just need to know where I want to go. So we were coming to Sydney. I knew I had this commitment with Success Resources to come here and do these events. Good. Tell me when the events are. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, I got to get there, right? So a week ago, I'm like, okay, hey, Lanny, I called my pilot. I want to route to Sydney, but let's stop in Hawaii. Let's go to Kauai. Kids have never been there. We'll stay there for 3 days, acclimate for a second, and shoot down to Sydney. I had enough data to know that I would need to do a route like that. Storm comes in. For some reason, I can't get the place I want in Kauai. Storm comes across the South Pacific, and Lanny said, hey, we might want to be careful with this storm coming down there. I said, okay, well, let's reroute to Fiji. Double storm pops up. Double-headed cyclone. Okay, in our path. He's like, Grant, we can't go that way. We'd have to go all the way around this storm. I said, no, we don't. Go to Tokyo. Now, the point of that story is, look, just keep moving forward. Keep moving in a direction that you want to go to. We go to Tokyo. I made all these friends in Tokyo. I would have never done that. But I was committed to going to Sydney. And so, again, commit. Move in the direction that gets you closer to where you're going to go.
How do you personally know, like, when is it time to pivot a little bit? When is it time to shift? I've seen you put layer on layer on layer on layer, but how do you know when to make that move? When do we go to the next layer?
Well, for me, it's, it's like you see the end of something coming. Everything's got a cycle. Every sooner, look, Federal Express. I'm watching Federal Express this morning. So it's getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
Like, the company probably will not exist in the future. This is one of the greatest companies ever put on planet Earth. It's going to be disrupted by Amazon.
Right.
So it might come back, and I'm sure some maybe Warren will come in and figure out how to save it. But my point of that is that, like, things expire, bodies expire, products expire, ideas expire, and they run a cycle where either the passion's not there or the profit's not there. And for me, I like to do things that are profitable.
Right.
And the more profit it makes, the more passionate I get for some reason.
Right. I can understand that.
So because that's the only way I know how to win. I can't make a basket. I can't write a movie. Maybe I can. Maybe I could write a movie. I can't make it.
You put together some pretty good videos. I think you could probably put together a good movie.
Yeah. So, look, if I do a 10X growth conference and 12,000 people come and we lose money on it, that's nothing to be proud about.
Sure.
I know guys that can do that. We run the only, just to brag a little bit, we run the only profitable event in the world.
Wow.
Everybody loses money on those deals. Those events they do. I did a deal with Tony Robbins, Sly Stallone, Gary Vaynerchuk. Who else was at that gig? I think Pitbull was there too. 2 days, they lost money on that gig.
Jeez.
Like, gosh, how you lose money on that?
Wow. With
how
that
you
lineup?
Like, I'm like, you got to be kidding, because they couldn't sell their tickets. They couldn't get the appropriate price for their ticket. So when do you decide to transcend? When do you decide to move on to something? Look, when it's no longer passionate, it's no longer profitable, and you can't figure out a solution, right? You've tried and you're looking at, and you know that maybe the industry's starting to go away.
And you mentioned that whilst writing 10X Raw, something changed for you.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that sort of this
look, the 10X rule
to going all in, or
no? The 10X rule it was just the awareness of I had been dependent upon one vertical,
right?
And I'm sitting there looking. Okay, I worked my ass off. I was good at my craft. I saved my money. What did I do wrong here, dude? 51 years old. I should be like so rich right now. I should be like not
Where's
even work, huh?
Where's my jet, Rich?
I wasn't even thinking about a jet.
Right.
I wasn't even thinking about a jet. I should just be like, I was still having to do business with people I didn't like. I'm like, why am I still kissing ass? And I don't mind kissing ass. Like, I don't mind. I'll do whatever it takes. But I'm like, why am I still flying 3 million miles every 3 years? Like I was banging miles out. I wasn't 150,000 miles a year.
Wow.
You know, away from my family. Like my life was miserable. I'm like, what? It's fine that you do that for 20 years. It's not fine if you do it forever. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, I wasn't scaling. Now, I didn't know that until the economy basically served up the lesson.
Right.
All right, we're going to take your 3 businesses and we're going to show you that you really only have like maybe a half of one business. Took the first business and just cut it in half. Took the second business, took it down to like 90%, like just killed this partner I had. And the third business was real estate, and it was frozen. It was literally like they put it in a freezer and said, you're not going to lose any of this, but it's worth nothing to you today.
Yeah.
And I was on life support. And I'm like, I'll never do this again. I will never be dependent upon one vertical, one partner, or a handful of real estate. I come in today. I walk, we fly into London. We get here 11:15. I don't know what I'm going to do next. There's 5,000 people out there. Somebody sends me a text. Okay, this is what your day looks like. Okay, now I start running and hustling from one thing to the next thing. In between, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jam stuff in between events so that I leave this. I'm going to be here 8 or 9 hours. I'm going to leave this, and it's going to feel like I was here 8 days. And so I'm going to jam as much in so I don't get in trouble, because the more active I am, I'm creating time, basically. I'm not trying to manage time. I'm not trying to manage my day. I'm trying to create my day.
Yeah.
So I look at everything as like I'm creating something. I'm always in creation, because that keeps me from being effect. So I'm either going to be pushing this thing or it's going to be pushing on me. And, I don't fly the plane. I can only push as much as my skills allow me to.
Yeah.
So I can tell the guys from the back, hey guys, give us a good straight landing right down the middle, okay? Get us a little faster, get us a little higher. But I'm just from the back because I can't fly the plane. I'm in the back. I'm in the back of the plane. You guys are doing great up there, right? Okay. So keep it straight when you land, right? Don't wreck this thing. Don't damage it, right? I'm just from the back.
Yeah.
You guys autopilot. That's all y'all do up there, right? I make this joke about pilots. I'm like, anybody can fly a plane. Not just anyone can buy a plane.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of tongue-in-cheek thing, because I can't fly a plane. So it doesn't matter how much I want to, I can't. So I can't micromanage that. But what I can do when I'm on the plane, like last night, we got on at 10 o'clock. Got to the airport at 9:45. Walked on the plane. Beds are made. 2 kids, a nanny, Elena, all have our little separate beds. Bam, we knock out. We wake up at 11:15 this morning here. So I'm refreshed, ready to go. And then somebody sends me a little thing and says, this is what you're doing today. First, you got to rob more. I said, oh. That dude. Okay. So then we'll bang, 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 bang. And then we're going to leave out here about 9 o'clock tonight, go to Dubai and do that all over again. So that's how every day works. Okay. Except for today, when I woke up here, somewhere this morning, somebody, when they wake up, is going to send me, the first thing that happens to me every morning is I get a cash account.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So I say, okay, Okay, nobody's stealing from me. Okay, those numbers are getting bigger. Okay, that one went down. Okay, I know this money's going here. I need money, man. I'm playing chess. Those are my pieces. And if I didn't have money, it would be, okay, what's my time? It's either money or time. Which one am I running? So look, I worked at McDonald's, I got fired. I worked at a furniture store, I got fired. I worked in a car dealership, I was fired 6 times from the same guy. I just quit leaving. And I've been fired so many times, I finally figured out how to get fired and keep my job. I mean, really. So
talent.
I'm a sales guy not because I wanted to. That was not something I wanted to do. My dad was a sales guy. My dad told my mom before he died, tell those boys to learn how to sell. He knew he was going to die. And he's like, tell those boys to learn how to sell and they can go anywhere. I didn't know that. My mom didn't tell me that until I was like 25, 26 years old. And I had to take a sales job. She wanted me to be a professional. So I went and got an accounting degree, got out of college. There was 25% unemployment. I didn't know it. I didn't know anything about sales. I didn't go to college to become a salesman. But it was the only job I could get when I was 25 years old. It was be unemployed or take this job selling Toyotas.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know what a Toyota was. This is years ago. Toyota wasn't even a thing yet. And so I took this job that I thought it was just going to be a temporary job. I said, okay, I'm going to do this until I can get a real job. And that ended up becoming my career. I actually hated sales because all the jobs I had outside of McDonald's were part-time sales jobs. I sold clothes. I remember selling clothes. I'd sell an outfit and I'd make $6 on it. So kind of hard to get excited about $6, but it was $6 more than I had. And I was trying to put myself through college and pay for all kind of ridiculous things I was doing at the time. And I leaned into the sales thing and started learning it. I was just shooting some material today for Cardone University. We have probably, without me over promoting my own product, we probably have the most viewed sales training system in the world today. And I'm saying that not to brag, but to tell the viewer, this came out of a job I didn't want and didn't like. But when I leaned into it and said, hey, I need to commit to this thing because I have to learn how to do this. I have to learn how to bring revenue in. And whether I liked it or not, I needed to learn the money game. The money game starts with in accounting. And it might have been the thing I learned in accounting as I sit here and tell you this story, because in accounting, I remember studying financial statements in accounting classes. It was accounting, the principles of accounting. I thought I was going to learn how to make money. That's not what they're teaching there. But I remember there was on a page in the accounting book, the blue accounting book that I detested and hated. There was a page about an income statement. And then they would compare income statements of these companies. Well, the top thing of every page was income, revenue, or gross sales. And later, looking back, didn't know it then, but looking back later, I'm like, oh, that's the most important part of a company. If it wasn't the most important part of a company, they wouldn't put it at the top of the income statement.
Yeah, that's true.
On every income statement everywhere in the world, it doesn't matter whether you're in China or Chicago. The top 3 lines, they might be different words there. It is all describing gross sales, revenue by department, gross domestic product, how much revenue is coming through a country. That is what determines whether or not a household, a department, or a company is viable. And I had been fighting the top 3 lines of my personal financial statement, which everybody has one. And it's called sales. So once I leaned into it, boom, I started making money, man. It was literally that simple. I'm going to learn how to bring revenue into my household. I was 25 years old, had no money, lived in an apartment. My rent was $275 a month. I was late on it 4 times a year. Every 3 months I was late because I'd go up and down. And when I leaned into it, all of a sudden, hey, I made an extra $1,000 when I was 25 years old. I'm like, wow, that was the most important money I've ever made in my whole life, because it gave me an idea that I could control my income. I had a guy the other day ask me for some advice.
Okay, you know these people that ask for advice. I know you know. Yeah. You give it to them and they don't do it.
Yeah.
He knew it was true. It hit him. He's like, I know that's right. And then he went and did something different. And this is a big mistake people make, man. The best things that have happened to me did not require any more thought. The best decisions I've made in my life were instant. So like my wife and I, like when I've decided to buy something, I go buy it. I don't check with her because that adds thought. It adds time. And this is another bad piece of advice I was given. Like, take time, think about it. Don't move too fast. Take baby steps. You don't know, nobody on this planet ever took baby steps. They went fast. And the faster you can go, you know, my plane is safest when it's up in the air. When it's landing, slowing down, it's in trouble. When it's taking off, it's at risk.
That's interesting. At flight at full speed, it's almost the safest.
Dude, that thing wants to fly. You know, and people are being conditioned to slow down, think about it, take your time, take a drug. I was put on lithium when I was 29 years old because the psychologist thought I needed to slow down. She was scared of speed. I wasn't.
And at that time, were you doing well financially?
Yeah,
or?
I was doing great, but everybody was saying, hey, you're doing too much of this and you're doing too much of that and you're going to burn and you're going to do this. And people were worried about me around me. They were going slow. I was vibrating faster than they were. But a hummingbird vibrates. Bumblebees vibrate, right? They do things that are impossible. So you don't want to slow down. And you want to move with speed and certainty. That means people need to know what they're doing. If I know what I'm doing, that's why confident people, Tiger won today. He's been fighting, man, been efforting. 10 years he hadn't had a win. He won today. That guy moves with speed and certainty. You know, winners move with speed and certainty because they practice, they train, they educate.
If you're having problems right now, okay, like if you're having recurring problems, just make a list. Make a list of.
Make sure you guys do what Grant says. Remember, he's a T-Rex.
Yeah. Make a list. Make a list of your recurring problems that you're sick of. The same stuff over and over again. Man, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't get to take whatever the recurring problems are. I can't get good people. I got one person at my office that I depend on, and I'm sick of depending on him, even though he's a producer. Those recurring problems that you have over and over again. You lose deals. You don't like your clients. You actually have clients that you'd like to get rid of. You know how you get rid of bad clients? Get more of them. Okay. So what I do is if I have problems, let's say I'm making $1 million a year. I'm making 1 million, and I'm like, okay, next year, this is what business owners do. They're like, this year I'm going to go from 1 million to 1.2 million. I'm going to get a little growth, and then COVID cracks you. And then you're like, okay, I'll settle for 500 grand now. The problem was you were looking for incremental growth, okay? You know the old thing about 3 steps forward, 2 steps backward, you only get 1 step out of that. By the time a week or two goes, you're like, I'm sick of this. I'm tired. I'm bored. I'm beat up. And your life doesn't change. The trick is that if you would plan out how to get to 10 million, even though you're not, let me just go ahead and asterisk that right now. Don't have a plan to go from 1 to 1.2. Build a plan to go from 1 to 10 million because it's going to give you a new set of problems. Okay? And a takeaway for you today, get new problems. Because if you keep working on the set of problems that you have, you will never solve them. Okay, watch. I got a handful of problems. I'm making $1 million a year or 200 grand or whatever your number is. Pick your number. And I'm like, I'm going to get me incremental growth. How do I do that with the people I have, the time I have, the office I have? Well, what you do is you're like, I'm going to go from 1 million to 10 million. Oh, I need a new office, new problem. Oh, I need 10 people, not 2 people. Oh, I need to spend 100 grand a month on advertising, not 5,000. See, all of a sudden I got new problems. I'm no longer thinking about Pete, the
what do they call the guy that you're so, the diva, Jessica. I got to put up with Jessica's because she's a diva, comes in when she wants, leaves when she wants. She runs the business even though I own it. She tells me what to do. She's really the boss even though I write the checks. Okay. So I'm like, I'm going to go get 20 Jessicas. You follow what I'm saying? I'm going to go build, like a lot of you are worried about debt. I remember in 2008, I owed $50 million to the bank. And I'm like, I told my wife, this will never happen to me again. The bank was pushing me around, like bullying me around like a punk. And I said, Elena, this will never, ever happen to us again. And she's like, what are you going to do to prevent it? I said, the next time this country goes upside down, I'm going to owe $1 billion in debt. The problem that people need to complain about right now is not the billionaires. They need to understand that because what they're saying is there's income inequality, wealth inequality. But the reality is there's education inequality. Okay, the billionaires play by a different set of rules than everybody else. So do I blame the guy playing by a different set of rules, or do I blame the game? You know, the old saying about don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah. You need to learn how to win at the game. Yeah. Don't hate anybody. Don't hate the game. Don't hate the player. Learn the game. Yeah. And the game of the wealthy, the rules are stacked for wealthy institutions and wealthy families.
Yeah.
And people need to like understand what those rules are.
Yeah. And those games are those rules, those games.
Investing. Not spending.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy a house. I'm going to buy a company.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, everybody hates
jobs.
Huh?
Create jobs.
Yeah. I'm not going to have a job. I'm going to create jobs. Yeah. Like the difference is Donald Trump, he buys a building in New York. He lives in it. He doesn't buy a house and live in it. Yeah. He buys a building and lives in it, rents out the whole place. He literally gets paid to live where he is, right? And then moves into the White House. so same thing with the Queen, okay? Like look at the play, man.
Yeah.
I mean, are you going to take the Queen stuff from her?
Not me.
Nobody is. No. Nobody is. People have been trying to take her stuff for 70 years. Ain't nobody taking her stuff. No. So this is not a new thing. This is not a new problem. Like this is thousands of years old. Play the game of the wealthy. Own things. Own businesses. Don't spend money.
Yeah.
Invest money. Don't waste it on cars and bicycles. And like if you look at the average family in the UK, they will spend ridiculous money on things their kids want. Look, I take care of my kids. But I don't just frivolously buy them junk.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's only $89. I'm gonna get it for them, and it's worth nothing the next day. That's where the difference is.
Yeah.
And then the wealthy, they invest money to connect with people. Okay. Most people go home at night so they can be with their family. The thinking's different. So these guys are going to go to Davos and meet with Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. And spend millions making connections, not tens of thousands, millions of dollars, where the average household in the UK is like, I just want to go home tonight, watch TV, and people are getting punished for that.
Do not try the competition thing. It's overrated and it doesn't work, and I'm going to prove it to you right here in a second. Okay? This is a private, what's called an FBO. Everybody that flies in here owns their own aircraft. You don't want to try to be the biggest jet, okay? You don't want to try to be the most money. You don't want to try to be the best of the best. There'll always be somebody faster and stronger and richer, okay? Don't play the game, oh, I got to be number one. What does that even mean, man? I got to be the biggest. What does that even mean? I got to have the biggest car, the biggest watch, the hottest chick. What does that mean? It's a game you cannot win at, okay? You will get your brains handed to you. I'm gonna show you what I mean right here in a second. That plane right there. That's a little Learjet right there. I think it's a little Lear or Phenom. I don't have all my jets right, okay? I don't know, you can buy that plane for about 800 grand. Right next to it. Little bigger. Look what's rolling up right here, a little Challenger. We got a little Gulfstream 4 right there. That sleeps 13. Don't try to play the game. I'm the biggest. It's a game, okay?
okay? It's a loser's game, man. I'm gonna show you some equipment out here because anybody, like here's a little Phenom 100. That plane's about $5 million. Great plane, faster, so fast. Seats 7 people, okay? Maybe $4 or $5 million. Great plane, great starter plane. But look at this. See that right out there? That's a 20 passenger jet right there. Okay, now notice what's right next to it, John. Okay, that's a 727 that a hotel owns. If you try to play that game, the competition game, I'm the strongest, I'm the best, you lose that game. You gotta find what you need in life. What's enough for you? You guys gotta define that. I can't define it for you. Most people are coming up short on that game, but there's a lot of other people that are making the mistake when they get in the game and they start playing, they gotta keep reaching, not because they need it, but because their ego is like, oh, I gotta be the biggest. And you know what? You're gonna turn into a hotel owns that. That plane's probably $200 million back there. The point is, don't play, I gotta be the strongest, because sooner or later you won't be. Find out what you need. Look on that plane over there. Hey, look at my little plane. Look at my little plane. See, you're like, man, Grant, man, your little plane. Now flash over to this one. See, if I'm doing the comparison thing, the competition thing, it's a loser's game.
I would rather fast than perfect.
Yeah.
I'll post something that's got grammatical issues. The first book I ever wrote had hundreds of misspelled words, not a few, hundreds of them. And I remember a guy, first person that told me about him, I didn't see him. I wrote it. He wasn't a ghostwriter. I wrote the book. Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. So the guy calls me and says, man, you got hundreds of misspelled words. I have a spreadsheet. He's trying to be of service to me. He sends me a spreadsheet, grammar, colon, semicolon. I use semicolons where there should be colons, commas where there should be periods. And he's like, run on sentences. And he sends me this whole spreadsheet, like 40 pages of corrections. I said, man, thanks for doing that. Yeah, man, he's like, I just want to be sure you get it right. I said, bro, it's a best-selling book. It's a best-selling book. And he's like, huh? I said, it's a bestseller, son. It's not a best written.
Yeah.
It ain't a perfect grammar book. Like, I've never been perfect. I'm sloppy. I push hard. I push fast. But I'd rather, I remember Bill Gates. Bill Gates says, look, if Microsoft can't be the best, let's make it look like it's the best. When China was ripping Bill off, he's like, if they're going to rip somebody off, let's make sure they rip off Microsoft. Like, the attitude is like, get to the market. Get to the market, be in the market, put it in people's hands. We can fix it later. If you look at this little device right here, they came out with an 11. The 11 had so many bugs in it. Every day people were getting, you've been updated. Updated is code for phone was yeah. And we had to push it out because we want to hit our quarter. Yeah. And we want to keep people excited with new products. So we're willing to hit people with a new product that's got bugs in it. Now the perfectionist says, no, we need to wait. Okay, we got to get it perfect. We got to get it fixed, which means you're going to get slaughtered in the marketplace by a beast that runs faster and dominates the market and overwhelms the customer with new products while you're sitting back in your laboratory saying, hey, we're going to make it perfect. That goes for the artist, to the businessman, to the musician, to everyone. This is why men have an advantage in social media over women. Because women got to do the filter, got to fix their hair, got to do their makeup.
Or bodybuilding world champions.
He's got to go pump first.
Yeah.
Ty's back there. Ty Lopez. He's back there. Ty's a friend of mine. He's back there pumping up right now. He's trying to get his pecs swollen. So like you watch my social media. Most of it's not planned. 90% of it's not planned. I have bad hair days. I say the wrong things. I want to push product out. I'd rather frequency and speed over quality. And I'll figure the quality out as I go.
2008 happened, I had nothing to do with 2008. I had 2 businesses and I was starting to buy real estate. And I was not buying the real estate to cause the problem in this country. Any of you remember when Lehman collapsed, your business, if you were in business, your business probably got hurt. I wasn't doing the mortgage-backed securities. I wasn't doing the no money down houses. You know, I wasn't selling that stuff. I wasn't doing mass development on the backs of the bank with bad loans. But because I lived in America and I was doing business at the time, I got greatly affected by that. My first 2 businesses got cut in half and my real estate was frozen up. I owed $52 million to a bank that went upside down. New bank came in. They started making demands on me. I ended up in a lawsuit. Aren't there a bunch of lawyers in here?
Yep.
I ended up in one of these crazy lawsuits where the guy was going under. He had done some things wrong, and he decided to pull me down with him. It was a frivolous lawsuit that was costing me $200,000 a month to fund. I had never been involved in a lawsuit in my career. So that being said, I looked at that situation and said, hey, what did I do wrong here? Like I always look at how am I responsible, able to respond. That is the definition of responsible, able to respond. Now, in my case, I was being forced to respond. It wasn't a lot of able in it. But the one thing that I walked away with was I had a baby on the way. I'd just been married. I just got married maybe 3 years before that. So the marriage was very new. We were really still in the honeymoon phases of our marriage, not really understanding who we were as a team, my wife and I. New baby coming along. I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in a beautiful house up in the hills. Overlooking all of LA. And I pretty much thought my life was great until 2008 happened. Now I'm taking a second to get you to what I want you to hear. I didn't plan on 2008. I didn't think about a Lehman collapse. I didn't know 40 million people were going to go upside down in their homes. I did not know it would affect me. I didn't know one of my industries was the automobile dealers. I was working with automobile dealers around the United States. That was my primary business. I was making a couple $1,000,000 a year. I didn't know 9,000 car dealers would go out of business. Who would plan on any of that? Now, what's that got to do with today? Who in their business plan had COVID as part of your business plan?
Let us know in the chat. Put a no in the chat if you didn't have a plan for that.
Yeah, I need to see 316. I need to see one guy in here say, oh, yeah, I planned on mask. Oh yeah, I had myself going out 1 week buying $400 worth of toilet paper. Okay. Oh yeah, in 2020. By the way, how many of you in 2020, January 1st, you were like, "This is going to be the best year of my life"?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everybody gave that up on March 23rd. The entire nation of America gave up. Surrendered 2020. Look, the news, the media by April was saying 2020's over. How many of you heard that? Fuck it, I'm throwing 2020 away. Fortune 500 companies, 100 companies, Carnival Cruise Lines, General Motors, Ford Motor Company, like mass companies were like, I'm done, I'm tapping out. This year's over. Wall Street, every day I'm watching Bloomberg right now. Wall Street's like, hey, just throw away all the earnings for 2020. Let's reboot for 2021. The entire nation surrendered. Your kids aren't going to schools. You didn't plan on that, did you? See, this is the problem with the concept. I think I saw somewhere in your promo, go big or
go home.
What's the saying? Go big or
go home.
There ain't nothing at home, folks. There ain't nothing at your house. You're not going to make your business work at home, okay? Go big or go home or home. You need to scratch that out and say, look, I got to go big or I got to go bigger because going home cannot be a choice now. And the whole country went home. We've been quarantined. You're going to have 10 million, probably 8 to 10 million bankruptcies by the end of this year. The other shoe is not dropped yet. The stock market's going crazy. The rich are getting richer. And I don't include us on this call as the rich. The rich will get richer.
Okay. Why? Because they think big. They think big. They never waste a crisis. And we are in a crisis. And the crisis, if you were in trouble before COVID, you are in more trouble today. And the reason we're in trouble is because people in this country are satisfied, complacent, comfortable. These are the enemy. So if you can take anything away from me, it's like, look, you and your wife, you and your husband, you and your kids must give up ideas of comfort.
If you want another amazing Grant Cardone video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
I don't end up doing things that are destructive when I'm busy doing things that are constructive.